Today on Commander Replay, we kick off with Game 1 of our Zacama Monster Triple Pack versus Grandwarlord Radha, Varchild, and Mayael the Anima. Find out who wins next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, I want to take a quick second to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Zacama Primal Calamity Zacama Storm. Take a look at our opening hand. We've already mulliganed once. That was a one-lander. We're into another one-lander. There's only 34 lands in this deck, so I think we're going to need to mulligan down to 6. Alright. We at least have mana in this hand, but not much else, unfortunately. Looks like 2 of our other opponents have mulliganed as well, so we'll go ahead and keep right here now that we finally have some lands. As long as we get Zacama in play, we don't need to do that much else with this deck. Getting Zacama down and untapping with some mana is generally enough to win a game. Abundance will be pretty sweet, I think, although we need to find some green mana, actually. Didn't realize we have no green, but once we do that, then Abundance will help us determine if we need a land or not a land. So, cool little card. Works really well with, what is it, Sylvan Library, I think is the one. So we draw the Abundance, still short on green mana. We'll play the Plains, play the Mana Vault, and see if we can catch a green off the top next turn. If we do, we'll probably use it for the Explosive Vegetation. So today I'm joined by 2 Patreon supporters. We have Kithron piloting Varchild, Betrayer of Keldor, a really interesting commander that I played one time. It makes you think about how you want to build the deck and about how you want to play and how you should attack. It does put a lot of creatures into play for multiple players very quickly, so you need to be a little bit careful of that one. A board wipe is not the worst thing to see if there's a Varchild at the table. And next up, we have Doc Hawk playing the Mayael the Anima deck, which we've seen a few times. And over the past couple videos, they have been able to get us with Mayael's Aria and a monstrous Colossus of Akros for the win twice. So we're going to try to prevent that today. If we see Mayael's Aria coming down, I'm definitely blowing that thing up. And finally, we have a Grandwarlord Radha opponent. Don't really know what they're up to. I assume some sort of aggro-y creature, possibly elf tribal deck. Varchild will be really crazy with Grandwarlord because they'll have a lot of tokens to attack with and generate lots and lots of mana. Opponent does lay down a Throne of the God Pharaoh, which tells me probably some sort of token go-wide deck. And that's going to bring it back to our turn. We draw a Runeborn Hellkite. Could be useful. Looking at some new cards may not be the worst thing ever. So let us just play the Sacred Foundry tapped right here. I don't have much else going on. And we'll pass like that. Today's deck list, by the way, comes from Patreon supporter Matthew, who brought us gems like the Azami deck. He felt like he wanted to see me fumble my way through more high-power combo decks and or harm more Patreons in the filming of this video. So, piloting his deck today. And Zacama Storm, pretty strong, so I told opponents to bring something nasty, so hopefully they've done that, otherwise may not be the most fun for them. So Varchild goes on the attack, swings into the Mayael opponent, gives Mayael 3 tokens. The tokens, by the way, can't block, and they can't attack Varchild or a Planeswalker Varchild controls. Opponent's going to send the 3 tokens at us, sure. There's a Kessig Wolf Run for the Grandwarlord, that seems pretty good late in the game. Need to be careful of that. And a Fervor, even better. So they're set up pretty well. And that's going to bring it back to our turn. Not the green mana we were hoping for. We're at 6 mana. We can play the Runeborn Hellkite. Likelihood that I think someone has a board wipe. Also a trick. I don't know if I want to use the Mana Vault yet, because if we draw a green, then we can play the Explosive. Okay, yeah, I think we play the Runeborn Hellkite right here. So Mana Crypt Flip on the Varchild opponent. Runeborn, if nothing else, will give us a blocker, and if it dies for any reason, which board wipes are usually necessary with Varchild, so if anyone has one, they'll probably be incentivized to use it, then we can exile the Runeborn Hellkite and use that wheel effect, which I think we may need to, even though we have 2 storm cards in our hand, which is probably not really what we want to wheel away, but kind of in an awkward spot after the mulligan, and we don't have green mana. There's a Wasteland. That could be good against the Kessig Wolf Run. Bedlam. Creatures can't block. Awesome. And a Relic of Progenitus. Even better. Varchild off to a great start. Gonna get going on the Relic of Progenitus triggers. Exiles the Naya Panorama for the Mayael opponent. And they're going to swing into us with Varchild. We cannot block. We get a bunch of tokens that can't block, but they can do some attacking. So this may be a rather fast game with Varchild running around and nothing being able to be blocked. That's an, Aura Shards for Mayael. Throne of the God Pharaoh and Fervor, really good targets. Bedlam, also a good target. Right now, we only have the Mana Vault, so we'll need to be careful with Abundance if we lay that down. Haymore Garrison coming down for the Radha opponent. Yep, that seems good. It can attack immediately and no one can block. It's going to be making some tokens. I'm going to send them into the Mayael and the Varchild opponent. Throne of the God Pharaoh will trigger, and that'll bring it back to our turn. Mana Crypt is not the card we were looking for right here. In fact, I don't even know... I don't think I actually want to play it yet. Because we need to conserve life pretty badly right now. Well, nothing can block, so... Although, Bedlam may get blown up. Yeah, there's a high likelihood that with Aura Shards down that Bedlam's going to get blown up, so I'm going to leave the Runeborn Hellkite back, just in case that happens. Mana Crypt Flip on the Varchild brings them down to 30. Lays down an Onaganata. Got a 6-3 Varchild. Can't block, haste, hexproof, and trample. Gonna send the Varchild into the Grandwarlord Radha. That's a little bit scary because now they can make a lot of... Yep. They have a lot of tokens, and Grandwarlord will be able to make a lot of mana. Here comes Mayael. So opponent will get an Aura Shards trigger. Let's see where they point it. Throne of the God Pharaoh, probably one of the better calls right now. Yep, goes after the Throne of the God Pharaoh. I can get down with that. Gonna send the tokens into the Grandwarlord opponent. And opponent's gonna activate that Relic of Progenitus to exile a card. Throne of the God Pharaoh, now exiled. Yep, here comes Grandwarlord. Opponent's going to make a lot of mana. They're sending just about everything into the Varchild and the Haymore Garrison into us. They're going to get 10 mana, 10 red and green mana that they can use during their next main phase. So I assume that we'll see the rest of the cards in their hand in the second main, because, yeah. So we go down to 26. Varchild's down to 25. Actually, our three opponents are all at 25, and we are at 26. I think that means that we are winning. Our life total is higher by 1. Part of me kind of wishes I did play the Mana Crypt last turn so that we could untap the Mana Vault, but that does come at the risk of losing Mana Crypt flips, and life is very precious in this game right now. Ooh, that's an Acidic Slime. Bet it goes after the Aura Shards. Oh, gonna go after the Bedlam. Nice. So we'll be able to start blocking with our Runeborn Hellkite. Now, there's a lot of tokens already on board, so I don't know exactly how much that's gonna matter, but that is a good place to be. Here comes the Hellrider. Oh, man. Yeah, giving Grandwarlord tokens was probably a really bad idea. That's going to bring it back to our turn. There's a Wear Tear. That's something. Not the green mana we need, though. Yeah, we're in a bad spot now. Yes, we are. Play the Mana Crypt. Yeah, we don't really have too many other options other than just sit on stuff. The tokens can't block. Might as well send them somewhere, right? That can block. I guess, yeah, attack the... Oh, right, we can't attack Varchild with them. All right, so really only one choice here. Gonna go with the Mayael opponent. Opponent's gonna block one, sure. Mana Crypt Flip on the Varchild and a Rogue's Passage, so they can make it unblockable if they need to. Ooh, Umazawas. That's a good one. No Double Strike currently. Double Strike could take down Grandwarlord, which would be a really good idea. Varchild, now unblockable, off of the Rogue's Passage. Swinging into us. I think it might be time for Wear Tear. Shoot an artifact. I'm going to shoot the Onaganata, and then shoot the Fervor is probably a good idea. So we mitigate some of the damage that's dealt to us, brings us down to 22. Does give us a few more tokens. Mirari's Wake for the Mayael. Ugh. They now have 2/2 tokens. Going to send those into the Grandwarlord opponent. We're going to block with the Hellrider. We'll stop a little bit of the damage. So everyone's life total is staying about the same. We got 22, 23, 21, and we're at 22. And Grandwarlord's probably going to be able to do a lot right here. Question is who they want to take out. Soul Ring for our opponent. Shamanic Revelation. Draw... Oh, wow. Draw a card for each creature you control, and then gain some life. I don't know if they don't have a creature with power 4 or greater, but they still draw. They go up to 15 cards in hand, so that's a lot of card draw. If we get the opportunity to do so, using the Runeborn Hellkite would get rid of those cards and put them back down to 7. Now, unfortunately, we don't have either of our... Like, if we had this hunting pack up and could actually cast that after opponent's turn, then, like, yeah, we'd have a lot of 4/4s. may actually be able to win the game if that were the case, but we've been missing land drops, and that's how you lose games. This is a 34 land deck, which is a little bit low. Granted, there are a lot of things in it that ramp and do stuff, just that we got pretty unlucky. If we caught a forest earlier in this game, we had a pretty good chance with this explosive vegetation. That would have powered us into a bunch more mana, into the abundance, and likely into Zacama and our storm cards. So, just getting a bit unlucky with not catching any green. Yep, opponent coming into us with many, many tokens. Hellrider into the Varchild. Acidic Slime into us. I might block that with the Runeborn Hellkite. Grandwarlord into the Varchild. And Hayward Garrison into the Varchild. Many, many triggers. Grandwarlord, Hellrider triggers. We may be dead. 14 mana for the Grandwarlord opponent. Ugh. We're down to 11. Yeah, I think this might be the end right here. Opponent getting tons of mana. And force him to exile a card. We're going to block the Acidic Slime. Don't know that that's enough to keep us alive. Even after that, we'll have to survive a Mana Crypt and a Mana Vault. And we go to exactly 0. Bummer. So that's what happens if you miss a color and no one plays any board wipes. The games can end pretty quickly. This has been a 0 removal game so far, so... Oh, and there's a Relentless Assault. Yeah, I think Grandwarlord should have this one. And so when I played Varchild, I made a similar mistake in that I attacked a Perforos opponent who also had Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs out, and I gave them a lot of stuff, and then they just killed us with it. So if you're playing Varchild, you probably want to give the tokens to players that aren't super well suited to making really good use of having a lot of creatures. Things like Perforos, things like Grandwarlord, very good at taking advantage of having large armies of creatures. So you don't really want to be giving them any help, is a thing that I found. So yeah. Opponent goes on the attack again. Hellrider's going to trigger. Don't imagine that anyone's going to survive the Hellrider triggers. So Varchild goes down. They're at -5. Somehow Mayael survives. I didn't check in on how opponent attacked exactly, but I feel like they probably could have attacked in a way that ended the game. Opponent continuously winning flips with this Molten Birth. Finally loses the flip. Gets 10 tokens off the deal. That's pretty good. Oop, and a Rurik Thar. Rurik Thar makes it really hard to play a board wipe. Opponent will have to go down to 2 life if they do. It's not a great place to be, especially with Grandwarlord having haste. Now they could do some trickiness with Mayael, and maybe something like a Gisela would keep them alive. It'd be tough, because it would negate all the damage from the tokens. Gonna activate the Mayael. There aren't too many cards that people actually run that would get you out of this. Something like, what's that one giant guy? Stalking Vengeance, there's one you don't see much of. I don't think that's going to do it, though. There's that one giant that was reprinted in 10th edition, Bloodfire Colossus. I think something like that would do it, but maybe one of the other giants that deals damage to each creature in play. But yeah, other than that, there's not too many things that really get you out of it here. Like I said, maybe a Gisela is a more commonly played one. Since that would have the damage, and you'd be able to... They probably wouldn't send in a bunch of things in fear of losing them, so... So, down we go. Like I said, low land count deck. We didn't catch green mana, and because of that, we couldn't really do anything, so... probably gonna have to run this one back out there, and I'll see you guys for the next video.